Hello, all you beautiful people. So this is one of the videos I was talking about, these non-Elsa related videos. So Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, the Kingdom Hearts mobile game just ended, and I just want to talk about all the things that were going on, all the things happening, like if I like certain plot points, if I don't like certain plot points, and just kind of talk about the ending. I don't know, just kind of, I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be fun. So yeah, let's go. Also, the video that I'm looking at is by Everglow. It is a JP translation by him. So check out his channel, check out this video. Thank you so much for translating this. You're the best. Yeah, but yeah, check out Everglow. So, one of the first things going on is the Master of Masters talking to Luxu here about kind of like the point of Union Leaders, or like kind of like the overall like reason for creating them. It's interesting because this kind of like is a parallel to the Organization 13 in the sense of like the Organization 13, you thought their first goal was to gain hearts, but their actual real goal was just to create 13 vessels for Xehanort. So you kind of see a similar thing kind of here, where their true purpose was kind of being vessels for essentially these 13 darknesses. He had to create strong beings to be able to kind of resist them. Yeah, here we go. He needs, he needs, we need vessels with strong hearts, essentially. So that's why he raised them. But yeah, I think it's cool because also like I don't know if it was ever explained what the point of these union leaders were, and yeah, I'm personally not the biggest fan of kind of like the union leaders, so just kind of giving them this like interesting purpose I think makes them more interesting. Um, yeah. So it's pretty cool. Not much to say more beyond that though. I like how the Master of Masters is kind of like this, like almost good guy, kind of bad guy too. Like he's never like lost that, and I think he keeps that here with kind of like this overarching kind of plan. So that'd be cool. That'd be cool. It's also revealed right at the end that Luxu is the traitor. Right, yeah. He calls Luxu the traitor, like, legitimately. So I think that's interesting in the fact that what essentially he wants to do is create vessels to either resist the darkness, or he's lying to Luxu and he wants them to be corrupted by darkness. So Luxu being the traitor, I think that's setting up Luxu to be, like, more of, like, this ambiguous good guy, maybe? I'm not sure. But it's weird. It's definitely weird in an interesting way. Next we have this scene with Brain, Laurium, and I forget Larxian's human name, but this scene's pretty cool too. I like seeing the interactions with these three. Essentially, Brain is sending them away to the current time. That's where they all end up in like Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, essentially, more or less. That's where they end up, and then that's where we're going to see them eventually in the other Kingdom Hearts games. But pretty straightforward. Yeah, I just like all these characters, so pretty straightforward what's going on here. The next thing is pretty interesting, and then here at the end, Luxu confronts Brain. Alright. So the next thing here, this is supposed to be the main character with the blue hair. This is obviously Everglow's character, but this is essentially you, or us, right? So what's going on here is actually one of my favorite things that happened in this ending. So the darkness kind of encroaches, and then possesses the main character. And then the final boss of the mobile game of Union Cross is your two friends, Ephemer and Scold, which I think is, I don't know, I think that's really cool. The final boss of the game is you essentially being possessed by darkness against these two. I kind of like it. I don't know. I always like these like thematic kind of boss fights. There's a thing coming up which I wish was the kind of final boss, but having these two as the final boss is still really cool. Especially when they do their attack. Let me see if I can show it off here. Here we go. So this is actually really cool. This kind of like the barrage that they do here. This is the final boss move. I like it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So I really like the final boss conceptually, just the fact that it's you being possessed by darkness against your two friends, and that's the final boss of the game. Yeah, I like that a lot. The next thing that happens is pretty interesting. So darkness is possessing the main character because, again, it was established at the beginning that darkness likes possessing people with strong hearts. So we are obviously that person. Ephemer makes a portal through us that we get pushed into. And through that, okay, first off, okay, so getting back to, now we gotta go back to Brain and Luxu first. So, this is a pretty interesting scene. It's just Brain and Luxu kind of talking to each other. Um, and it makes a lot of interesting conclusions, especially at the end. They're pretty much just talking about each other and then just kind of like talking about the situation. But the most interesting thing is at the end here. So he's putting the future of his life on his line, and then Luxu goes like, he's about to say it. Oh, you're quite brilliant. And then this last line here. It's unfortunate to think that your life will end here. So I think this can take kind of two routes, and it goes into it later. But I think it's either one of two things, right? And I think it's left vague on purpose because it could be one of these two things. So the first thing it could be, I mean, I'll just play the same some music and play in the background. So the first thing it could be is that Luxu kills Brain here and takes over his body, because we know Luxu does that because he did that with whoever's body Xigbar was. He's been living for so many years thanks to this method of taking people's bodies, living their life, taking somebody else's body, living their life. So it's obvious that this face is not like Xigbar's face, Braig's face. This is obviously somebody else's, so maybe this is the first body he's possessed, maybe this is like one of the first bodies he's possessed, or I think the other route can be that Luxu is pretty much Brain. That Luxu is Brain, and when he talks about your life ends here, he's kind of more vague about it, in the sense of just like, okay, this is where you go into the future, kind of thing like that. I don't know, it's weird. It could be weird. Kingdom Hearts with its time travel is kind of weird, but I could see it being one of these two routes, and again, you'll see it later, when Luxu's face is, well, we'll see. But I think it's one of these two routes of just like either Luxu kills Brain here, or Luxu is Brain, and they're heavily implying that he is Brain. Which is interesting because I thought Brain had a connection to Ericus, but whatever. It's still an interesting scene. Now we have this scene picking up the pieces with Ephemer and Skuld. I don't like Ephemer, by the way. I know to make that clear really quick. The reason why I don't like him is I feel like they kind of push him too hard to be like this character that the main character really likes. Like, oh man, this is your best friend. Don't you like him so much? He's your best friend. But I never felt that connection with him. I was just like, he's all right, but I don't see him as a best friend. Like I like Skuld, I like Strelitzia, I like, you know, those random characters we went on summer vacation with. If you guys who play the mobile game know what I'm talking about. I don't really like Ephemer. So I just wanted to establish that a little bit. So I'm not too keen on the scenes focused on him, but you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. So they go through here. They're going into their pods. And another interesting scene is the scene with the main character and the darknesses again. So essentially, the main character got possessed on purpose so that this could happen, and he could trap all these darknesses inside here. Now, I think would have been cool. What would have been cool is that if this was the final boss, like you versus all these darknesses. But I still think the fight between you and you possessed against Ephemer and Skuld is still a really cool final boss. But if these guys were the final boss, I think that would have been really nice. But essentially, main character just like, haha, I got y'all. I just wanted to lock you all inside this room. So they're just trapped in here. I think they start freaking out too, which I think is hilarious, by the way. Yeah, they just start freaking out, because they're just trapped in here. They can't get out. But yeah, no, I think it's a cool thing, cool story beat, cool thing for like the final act of the main character to do is trap these 4 darknesses in here. So that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Next thing that happens, Skuld and Ephemer use the wayboats. They see the end of the world happening because of the Keyblade War. And then we transition scenes to, I believe this Master of Masters talking with the darkness here. He's just talking with the darkness. Darkness is just like, yada yada. And the main thing the Master of Masters is saying is he is gonna go to a world where the darkness can't reach him, which is the world of imagination, which has neither light or darkness because it's not real. So, I think he's talking about Quadratum, which is the world that we saw at the end of the Kingdom Hearts 3 secret ending. Like the Yozora world, essentially this video game world. So essentially, you got the real world, then you got like things like the data world, and now we have things like the imaginary world, which is like the world of video games, which isn't reality. So I guess the rules of reality don't apply, so it doesn't have light and darkness. So it is a place where he can go that has no light and darkness. Again, this can take two routes of like he escapes here and somehow the darkness chase him, Or, you know, if they're doing like a more like he's the overall bad guy, maybe he brings light and darkness to a world which has no light and darkness to see what happens, or like for some ulterior motive. um you know, or maybe it could be a third option that he goes to Quadratum, the darkness chases him, he has light, the darkness brings darkness, and that's how light and darkness are brought to this world it didn't have before, which is the imaginary world, which is Quadratum, which is the place where Yorzor is right now. I don't know. It's a cool scene. Any scene with the Master of Masters I do like, because I think he is a really good character. How I feel about Darkness is, I don't know. I honestly don't know how I feel about Darkness. Like, it makes sense as like a concept for a villain. And they've done interesting things sometimes. I do like how like they're just kind of like a unit. It might be revealed if they are actually like actual characters, or they're just a concept, or just like, again, like a unit of beings, like a hive mind type of thing. But yeah, so yeah, fiction talking about the data world is like, no, this is a bit different. It's a world of a video game. It's an imaginary world. It's from people's imagination. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of this scene. The next scene, another Ephemer scene, so I'm just like, whatever. They go back to the way boats and then go even more into the future. That's pretty much it. And then he remembers you, and that's nice. I mean, okay, again, I don't hate Ephemer. I don't hate him. I'm just like, I guess I don't have the like of this character that the game wanted me to. Like, I'm more of a Skull fan, the Certia fan, not so much Ephemer. Alright, this is one of the final scenes. So this is essentially us dying. We got trapped in that room with all the darknesses. We eventually died there. And then we're watching all the other kind of dandelions dying as well. Because, you know, the world got destroyed. And this is one of the other crazy plot bombs, which is essentially, when these Keyblade wielders die, they fuse with their Chirithy to essentially become Dream Eaters. I think, okay, at first I didn't like this. At first I didn't like this because I don't like Dream Eaters. I just really don't like Dream Eaters. I think they're kind of silly and stupid. But I think the fact that your main character doesn't do this kind of helped it a lot for me, because at first I thought, oh, okay, so when these guys die, they fuse with the Chirithy, become Dream Eaters. Like, that's dumb. I don't want to become a Dream. Like, I was just like myself. I was just like, I don't want to become a Dream Eater. Like, it's so dumb if they make me become a Dream Eater. But the fact that the main character doesn't do this, I think makes it better, because now I like this plot. Before I didn't like that plot point, but now I actually do kind of like this plot point where these ancient young Keyblade wielders fuse with their Chirithy when they die to become Dream Eaters, to kind of like, I guess, live on through that. But yeah, the main character talks about choosing, because there's two routes you can take. You can either become a Dream Eater, yeah, if you fuse sleep, then you will dissolve into a new heart. And that kind of goes into another plot point but I still want to talk about these Dream Eaters for a little bit longer, so give me a second. So I think this is really cool, because again, Nomura has this thing where he likes to be a vague writer. You know, when he first made Dream Eaters, they explained it a little bit, but it was left vague enough that the origin point of Dream Eaters could still be established upon. So now we have a true origin point of Dream Eaters, which is these old Keyblade wielders fusing with their Chirithys after they died in the Keyblade War. So I think that's good. I think it's a good plot point. I think it works enough and it's interesting enough. So I think that was really smart of Nomura to, again, be a vague writer when he was creating Dream Eaters. Because, again, I think an important thing with Dream Eaters is that I think a lot of people share my... Oh my goodness, it's still going. A lot of people share my mentality of just, like, I don't like Dream Eaters. So I think this is Nomura's way of being just like, okay, you don't like Dream Eaters? Well, how about now? And I think now, I think most people like Dream Eaters at least a lot more, where they're at least sympathetic to Dream Eaters, where it's just like, oh man, these are all the people we knew, like these are all the dead Keyblade wielders, essentially. So people have warmed up a little bit now, more to Dream Eaters, so I think it worked. I mean, I would say, at least for me, I've warmed up a little bit more to Dream Eaters. And then because they are these characters that we knew when we played the mobile game. So I think it was smart. And I like this plot point. And yeah. And again, I think the key with this plot point is that you yourself do not become a Dream Eater. I think that helps a lot, and that was a very smart decision. Alright, so the other option is Chirithy talks about dissolving into a new heart. And then the scene we see right after he mentions dissolving into a new heart is the origins of Xehanort. So one of the first things that happen is this woman either Xehanort's caretaker as a baby or his actual mother. Is seen giving Xehanort to this old woman or man, I'm not sure. There's big resemblances between her and Scold. The girl here. Where is she? Scold. Okay, yeah, it was the girl you were fighting. The only difference is I think Skull has yellow eyes, and all the official art Skull has yellow eyes. Again, I think, again, like I said before, Nomura is a vague writer. I think that's his strength, is that he's a vague writer. So right now, it's like, is Xehanort, her son? Maybe, maybe not, depending on he wants to write it, depending on people feel. Is this actually Scold, or is this somebody else? Again, it's how he feels. Like, maybe it could be Scold's mom, you never know, or it could be Scold's granddaughter, you know, somewhere down the line, or has no relation to Scold at all. She just kind of looks like him, looks like her, you know. Again, vague writing. It may seem weird now, but it helps in the future when he can, like, kind of fill in these holes. So this old man or woman dies eventually after he took him to Destiny Islands to raise him. Xehanort is teenager Xehanort now. Somehow ends up in Scala. Not sure how that happens. Again, vague writing. And then ends up in the classic position with Ephemer, playing the chess and all that stuff. So the big thing here, the biggest thing here I have not talked about, is that it is heavily implied that when the main character, dies, we do not choose to become a Dream Eater. We instead choose to dissipate, and essentially become a new heart. And with that scene, it is heavily implied that essentially we become Xehanort, or at least become part of Xehanort, kind of thing like that, right? Because right after Chirithy mentions, let's see, you dissolve into a new heart. After Chirithy mentions dissolving into a new heart, the scene plays. So it's heavily implied, but not stated. It is implied, but not stated, that we essentially become Xehanort. Again, vague writing. Again, he's vaguely writing it so that if people like the plot point of we become Xehanort, then maybe he'll roll with that. But if people don't like it, he can very easily backpedal and be like, oh no, we didn't get reincarnated into Xehanort. We got reincarnated into this other character, maybe. And maybe people will be more fine with. Or people, I mean, and how I feel about this, I don't know. I'm not too big on becoming Xehanort, essentially, or dissolving into a new heart that eventually creates Xehanort. I know they've been trying to make him more of a sympathetic character as of late. No more is trying to make him a more sympathetic character. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of Xehanort being a villain. I mean, it's complicated. It's definitely complicated. Like, if he runs with this, kind of like being sympathetic of Xehanort, and then, because with Dark Road becoming a thing, obviously, as well, if he runs with it, and it ends up being a good plot point, I mean, I think I'll be more positive about this at the end of the day, but and then to say the end of the game, by the way, but if it's just like, this is more silly and stupid, and you becoming Xehanort, it's just like, but he did all these evil things. I didn't want to do all these evil things. Like, I didn't want to kill Kairi. I didn't want to torture Ven, Aqua, and Terra. Like, I didn't want to do all the things that Xehanort did, but I helped to create Xehanort by kind of reincarnating into him after my heart dissipated and dissolved into him. Like, so I don't feel too positive about becoming Xehanort. I don't feel too positive about that. Not my favorite plot point. It is honestly not my favorite plot point. It might be my least favorite throughout this entire ending of essentially when you die, you dissolve into the new heart that creates Xehanort. But again, it's vague enough because it's not stated. It's not stated. He doesn't say I will become Xehanort. He just says, looks like I'm gonna have to have a new adventure, or looks like I'm going on another journey. Where does he say? Looks like I'll continue on another journey. You know, it's not directly stated that he becomes Xehanort, so Nomura can easily be like, no, main character becomes this other character, or one of these other characters. But he could just as easily be like, okay, main character becomes Xehanort, we were all Xehanort, you know, everybody gets Norted, haha, the meme, oh, I'm already have Xehanort, you guys already have Xehanort, all of us are already have Xehanort, you know, going with that meme. But yeah, I think overall this is my least Words escape me. I'm sorry. I think overall, this is my least favorite plot point. Is the whole, you know, once we die, we dissipate into a new heart that becomes Xehanort. If he does change it so that we were reincarnated in somebody else, I think I would prefer that. Unless they do a really good, unless Nomura does a really good job with like being sympathetic to Xehanort and things like that. But at the same time, you know, Xehanort did all these evil things, like killing Kairi, like torturing Ven, Aqua, Terra, and Ericus as well. So I just don't know how to feel about it. I just don't know how to feel about it. But yeah. And then, you know, classic Kingdom Hearts fashion. We got the credits here. I can't play the credits because I think it's playing a copyrighted song, but these credits are nice. Having credits for a mobile game, I think is cute. So, of course, at the end of every Kingdom Hearts game, we gotta get a secret ending. So the first half of the secret ending is Ephemer's wayboat kind of landing in the same place. So one thing I think this implies is that Ephemer didn't actually use the wayboat. Okay, let me go back a scene. So if we go back a scene, the last thing we see with Ephemer is that he's thinking about main character. His pod closes, but do we see it teleport though? Okay, we don't see it teleport because when they first took the boats, I think we do see it teleport, I believe. Give me a second. Okay, we don't see it teleport, but we see it. Okay, we see it teleport into the room. Okay, so we see it. Okay, we see it teleport into the room. So I think what had happened with Ephemer's wayboat is that it didn't teleport him to the future. It just protected him from the tower collapsing. And once everything collapsed, he wakes up like this. Like the way the wayboat works is that it takes you into the either I think it transports you out of the world or it takes you into the future. I'm not 100%, but I think Ephemer's didn't work for whatever reason, or he didn't want it to work for whatever reason. So all it did, it didn't, instead of traveling him or teleporting him, it just protected him from the destruction of the tower. And then he's just looking at the wasteland of like everything being destroyed. Now we have a scene of like a la Kingdom Hearts 2. Maleficent's dead and the crow wants to make her revived. So this is I guess this is implying how she gets revived. Like she takes away, because she takes a wayboat back to the real world through the data world, and this is just kind of like, okay, somebody who remembers her is the fairies, so this is how she's revived. Yeah, or how she travels back, I suppose. One cool thing here is that Laurium's in a field of flowers, which is really cool, because, you know, his powers involve flowers and things like that. I forget which world this is called. I really do. I'm sorry, I just can't remember in the moment. But yeah, no, that's interesting to see what they ended up. And she, Larxene somebody, is in a lightning storm kind of area, which is cool, again, because her powers revolve around lightning. I believe this is the world where Maleficent presides. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see how they ended up. And obviously, Ven's in the Keyblade graveyard. We see an approaching darkness, whether that's Xehanort or somebody else. You know, not sure. It's just a vague thing in shadow. So again, that could be anything. And then we have Luxu at the end. And the big reveal with Luxu is something I mentioned earlier, in that he has Brain's face now. So again, it's one of two routes. It's either he kills Brain in that old scene and he takes over his body, or he was Brain the whole time kind of thing, and Luxu is Brain essentially, and there's some time travel things that happen there. And there you go, Kingdom Hearts Union Cross ending. And we have another secret ending here. Gotta have two secret endings. So, this is super vague what's going on here. It's one of those scenes where it's just like more questions than answers. Nomura loves to do this. He loves it a lot. So here we got Brain here at the end. A mysterious visitor here called Sigurd. He's just like, oh, we'll explain everything when we get to the whatever. We get to the building. Headquarters. There you go, headquarters. So it's just kind of like a bunch of just like more questions than answers kind of scene. I think it's fine. It is what it is. It's just typical Kingdom Hearts. The next thing coming up, I'm not a big fan of, but it's essentially just like, this is the statue of the man who founded the city, Scala at Calum, the first Keyblade master. And yep, it's I first thought it'd be the main character, but no, it's Ephemer. Ephemer was I guess, the first Keyblade master, the one who created Scala, and he is holding, and he says proud of his best friend, and he is holding Ericus's Keyblade. So I guess the E on Ericus's Keyblade does not sound for Ericus, it actually stands for Ephemer. And of course, an oath to return. Of course, an oath to return. So this last one, I'm fine with the whole like more questions than answers kind of scene with Sigurd and Brain here, because just like, okay, did Brain really die? I guess he did take a wayboat because he's here in the future Scala. You know what happened there with him and Luxu. He has like Luxu has his face, so what's going on? I'm fine with that. Like again, like I said earlier, I don't like Ephemer that much. I really don't like Ephemer that much. I don't like how much they push him as like this important character, like when he appeared in Kingdom Hearts 3, and now where it's just like he was the first Keyblade master. He's a super cool guy. He's the best. Ephemer's the best. He's so cool. Not a big fan. Not a big fan. I mean, if this is just the route they want to go, it is what it is. But I don't like it. I personally don't like it because I don't like Ephemer. I don't like how much he's like shoved towards you in this game. So him being the first Keyblade master and the one who created Scala, I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm honestly not a huge fan of it. But it does heavily imply that the old Daybreak Town is essentially Scala. Because where is it? I'm looking in the video. So again, he wakes up in the destroyed sea of Daybreak Town. The tower is destroyed. Somehow he created Scala, I assume over time. So he wakes up and he does that, becomes the first Keyblade master, yada yada, etc etc. He still looks really young, by the way, so it's kind of weird. Maybe like when they make Union Cross not chibi, if they make this into a movie or something, he'll look like more of an adult. That'll be good. But yeah, I don't like this plot point because I don't like Ephemer, but it is what it is. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the ending of Union Cross. Many things happen, many things happen. I think, again, the master stuff, and then like the overall purpose of the union leaders, I think I do like that. And I think they should expand on that, because I don't really like any of the union leaders, like, as characters. So them just being like these vessels for darkness, I think works with them. I think that's just better for them to do than they were doing before. It's like, oh, gotta find the traitor. I think them being vessels for darkness, I think, is a lot more interesting for those characters. Again, the final boss, super cool to see. It's you versus you being possessed by darkness versus your friends. If you got some cool buffs because you were possessed by darkness, I think that would have been cooler, but whatever. That's really cool. This whole gotcha moment against the darkness with the main character, that's cool. Luxu and Brain moment, again, left vague, could take many routes. Is Luxu Brain? Does he kill Brain here and take his body? Obviously not, because he takes a wayboat. So it's like, what, what's it going with that? But I still like the scene. I think I still like this scene. I like the story beat. I think I like Brain enough. I like Luxu a lot. I like Luxu a lot. At first I didn't like Brain. Brain was kind of in the same spot with Ephemer, just like, oh, okay, so this is supposed to be young Ericus or whatever, yada yada. But no, I think Brain is fine. He has some weird moments, but I think overall I do like Brain. Yeah, Ephemer, meh. I love this scene where it's like the main character's like a gotcha to the darkness, and they all just get angry and freak out. I think that's hilarious. They do eventually kill you, so it does suck, but whatever. We got some Quadratum stuff here. I'm excited about any Yozora stuff. I'm excited about. So he talks about Quadratum, and then he drops a symbol at some point. It's like 3 dots with the X. People who watch the ending know what I'm talking about, but I don't know where it is in the cutscene. But yeah. I like this stuff. I like the stuff here. Rumor stuff I don't like. I'm not a big fan of. And then the Dream Eater stuff, I didn't like at first, but now I do like it. I do like it because it's not the main character that becomes a Dream Eater. But then the big thing was just like, we become Xehanort. Still don't know how I feel about it. I'm not a fan. I'm overall not a fan of the becoming Xehanort thing, unless they expand on it in a great way and it's like actually really cool story beat. But if it is how it is now, I don't like it. But yeah, that happens there. And then we got the secret ending, seeing where these people end up. Luxu having Brain's face, I think, is one of my favorite things because again, I love Luxu as a character. So seeing more things about him, I think it's really cool. Maybe what's in the box is freaking what is it, Brain? Maybe he stuffed Brain into the box. I don't know. We still don't know what's inside this box, but yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, this is how Union Cross ends. This is how Union Cross ends with an oath to return. Overall, um, listen, I think overall. Um, Union Cross went on for way too long. I think that's one big thing to consider, but I think they definitely worked with it. There's some good story in here, but again, unfortunately, it is locked behind a mobile game, which is not some place people want to have like big story scenes, big important story scenes. This is quest 979. A lot of these quests take a long time to complete, and going through that, it's a slog. It really is. Like I came back to the game around like, okay, there's like no audio. I'll just like play some of these scenes in the background. Yeah, I'll start here. I like this scene. So Union Cross is a weird thing. It's a weird thing. Like I stopped playing maybe like 5 or 6 months ago, or maybe longer, I'm not sure, but at least less than a year ago I stopped playing because the game it just stopped being interesting. Power creep, like things kept getting power creep like way too fast, and the gameplay just wasn't catching me anymore. But the story did get better. It definitely did get better because all these things are interesting. Like all the characters near the end are a lot more interesting. Like what is it? I love the character of Strelitzia. I love Larxene. Again, I still can't remember Larxene's original name. It's killing me. It's killing me. I really should have looked this up, but whatever. I love her original character. I love Lorium, which is Marluxia's original. No, somebody. I love him as a character in this game. Um, what is it? I like Scold a lot too. Not a big fan of Ephemer. Not a big fan of Ephemer, but I like a lot of these characters here. Not a big fan of the Union leaders either. So it's just like it's a complicated relationship between me and Union Cross, where I like a lot of things, but I dislike a lot of things. But I think overall, this needs either like a movie, like a game movie, like they did with Days, like they did with Recoded. And they did do something with Union Cross with back cover, but it's mostly about the leaders. I think doing something with the main character and with the dandelions and things like that would be better, where it's pretty much these scenes here at the end. I think it would be very much needed, or they could do like a remake where it's just like an actual game, like Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, but it's on the console and they use more maybe traditional Kingdom Hearts gameplay. I think that would be cool, but I think a movie just would probably be better, and because there needs to be some better way that people can consume this, because the YouTube videos people make are very nice, but that isn't something Square is making, or the Kingdom Hearts team is making. So I think it'd be very intelligent for them to make something like a movie that goes into a lot of these cutscenes. Because I was only talking about the ending cutscene. There's a lot more cutscenes and some things that I don't quite understand fully yet. Like I didn't fully understand the whole what is it, Maleficent thing going on there. Thing going on with the darkness over there. I didn't fully understand some of the other things about the other leaders, or about the connection with this game and the last game. It's like, oh, this game's like more of a data world than really the Keyblade War, things like that, etc., etc. The story here is good. I'm gonna skip past Ephemer because I don't like him. But the story here is good, but it just needs to not be in a mobile game. It just needs to not be in a mobile game. If they make it to a movie, that would be great. But overall, I do like the story, and I do like a lot of the story beats and the ending conclusions that they create. Because again, Nomura is a vague writer, so he fills in these little holes in the future because he left it vague. Like with this Dream Eater scene, where he didn't fully explain Dream Eaters. People don't like Dream Eaters, so he's just like, okay, I'll use Union Cross. This presents an opportunity to kind of further explain Dream Eaters, and it makes people warm up a little bit more to Dream Eaters. I did too, and we'll definitely see where he goes with the Xehanort stuff as well. But yeah. I think that's about it, to be honest with you. Overall, I do like the ending. But I do think, again, still needs some type of other movie so more people can kind of explore this and enjoy this. I think that would be very intelligent for them to do. They don't have to do it, but I think it would be very intelligent for them to do that. Man, yeah, we'll see where it goes from here. We'll see where it goes from here. I don't know. Uh, the next time that we're gonna get a Kingdom Hearts game, I don't know. Maybe something with E3. They'll release another thing like a Kingdom Hearts game, like Kingdom Hearts Quadratum, Kingdom Hearts Yozora, like going down that route. I think would be really cool. Maybe something in 2023. I doubt it'd be in 2021 or 2022. Maybe something in 2023. I don't know where Dark Road is either. I don't know if that's ending anytime soon. I'm not sure. But yeah. This has been the ending to Kingdom Hearts Union Cross and me just blabbing about it because I just wanted to talk about it. Because I love Kingdom Hearts and so I love to talk about it. And I think overall, again, even though I don't like certain things, like Ephemer, like us becoming Xehanort, I do think this was a good ending to this mobile game. And I do think that overall, I think it had a solid ending. I think it landed the ending pretty nicely, and I think I like it overall. And I'm very excited to see where the series goes in the future. I mean, I'll always be excited to see where the story goes in the future. But yeah. I just wanted to share that with you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening to me ramble. I don't know if you had me on in your background or whatever, but thank you guys so much. I will see you guys next time. Have yourself a fantastic day, and yeah, peace out.